Welcome back to the Just Thoughts podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Cole Graham. As you guys can see, once again, I am all alone. Gabe Baltiera is not with me today. He's again feeling under the weather, and I myself am feeling a little under the weather. I've been dealing with something for about 3 weeks. My ears are killing me. The headset's kind of helping, but not really. But yeah, so I thought I'd jump on here, do a nice little solo episode for you guys. I had fun doing the first one, so I figured might as well do it again, give you guys something to listen to on this Monday. And today, the topic that I'm going to be talking about is celebrating everything. And what I mean by that is when something happens, you should celebrate it. And the reason I've thought of this topic is because as of recording, yesterday was my sister's birthday. So happy birthday, Jenna. January 31st for anyone who wants to write that down and give her something nice next year. There you guys go. And we went out to dinner for that, and we had a great time. She's actually going out with some friends tonight, so keeping the festivities going, rolling into February now. But yeah, so I figured that it's a great thing to talk about because, as we've talked about in our health episode, you're never going to be fully healthy, as Gabe and I are finding out very quickly now. And that's why I think if something good happens in your life, you should celebrate it, because you never know if you're going to get the chance to again. And just a few weeks ago, it was my dad's birthday, January 9th, again, for anyone who wants to write that down and get him something nice. It was my dad's birthday, and that was when I first had gotten sick. So I was full-blown sick. I was in bed. My body was hurting, sniffling, sneezing, all the symptoms. And I felt really bad because I wasn't able to go out to dinner. I wasn't able to celebrate with him. And of course, that made me feel bad, and I missed out on the great opportunity to celebrate my dad. And obviously hopefully he missed me not being able to go to dinner because, I'm a great son. So, it was a huge bummer not being able to go out and celebrate him. So that's why I think if you get a chance to celebrate somebody, go out and do it. And even if it's yourself, if you achieve something, go out and celebrate yourself because you deserve it. And you've obviously done something, or you have gotten the chance to celebrate yourself, so don't let it pass you by. And I've had chances to celebrate baseball games, as you guys already know. I'm going to say it again, though. I am the president of the club baseball team at Cal State Fullerton, so that means that I'm in charge of games, practices, tournaments, and scheduling all sorts of fun stuff with the club. So there's a weird balance where I have to be the disciplinarian, but I also have to be the person that initiates the celebrations because that's just my role. So there have been games where we've done poorly, and I'm a very competitive person. I love playing baseball. It's one of the things I love the most in life. And when we lose, that's obviously very hard for anyone, but especially me, being someone who really cares about baseball and really cares about winning and having fun. If I'm winning, I'm having fun. If I'm having fun, more often than not, it leads to winning. So it sucks when you lose, but that doesn't mean that there's not always something to celebrate. But I have noticed with myself, I tend to forget that sometimes. And if we lose, it's a really bad game, like it's 10-0 or worse, it's very hard to remember the good that happened. Oh, this pitcher came out when I needed them, and they went 3 innings and kept the score where it was. They didn't give up more runs. Or, hey, even though we didn't score any runs, this person went 3 for 4 with 2 doubles. That's still great. I should be able to congratulate them. I should say, hey, obviously the team didn't do well today, but you performed well. That's great. Give it up for this person and stuff like that. And that's something I'm trying to work on more. I'm trying to be more celebratory for the good that happens, even if there's not much good that is happening. Sometimes you have to search for it. Sometimes you have to remember, hey, yeah, this is a hard time in my life. All this is going wrong, but there's this one thing that went well for me. I think that is really what you should be celebrating, because in life, there's just ups and downs, and mainly downs. So when you get that little up part of your life, you should celebrate that, because it's very hard to come by. Even if it's something so small that you think, oh, this doesn't really matter. Oh, whatever, this could happen to anybody. It happened to you. And if you get a free drink at a restaurant, or, oh, they gave me an extra nugget or two in my Chick-fil-A order, That's great. I mean, yeah, that is very small, but that's a wonderful thing to have happen. And as you guys could probably tell, there's just negatives and negatives and negatives and negatives. So if you let those good times pass and you let these opportunities to celebrate life, like a birthday or a relationship hitting the 1 year anniversary mark or whatever it may be, a new job even, if you don't take the time to go out and celebrate with your friends or by yourself, hey, you know what? I earned it this week. I'm going to have a nice meal. I'm going to pay the extra $5 for an upgraded experience. Whatever it may be, you got to understand that life is too short to let the good moments pass you by. And especially in a life filled with just negativity all over the news, all over the streets, and just walking by people, you're going to come across people that are happy and, like me, would like to talk to people. But most of the time, people don't care about you. They just care about themselves. And obviously, they could be going through something in their lives. But if you have a positive interaction with somebody or you have a positive experience, it's become too hard to celebrate it. And I'm just saying, just do it. Because another example I have is, again, with baseball. I'm sure you guys remember I mentioned the canned food drive that my club baseball team does. Or well, hopefully you guys do, because you guys should have watched the episode where I talked about it. And yeah, so my team had a canned food drive again this year. I loved that we did it again. And we did it this year. Instead of it being at a different location, we had it at our field when we're playing games at the same time. So the games are going on as the canned food drive is going on. That's what it was supposed to be like the first year, but some things happened and it didn't occur that way. But we still went through with the canned food drive and it was a great experience. And that's why we brought it back again this year. And our team didn't do well. We got destroyed. And yeah, I mean, that's going to happen with any sport. But yeah, it wasn't a fair fight. And I kind of forgot in that moment that, hey, we just did a great thing. Because obviously my mind was on the baseball game. At that moment when we ended the games and it was like, man, we just got destroyed. Hey, it wasn't even close. It was a bummer, really. And my mind was just stuck on that. I couldn't think about, oh, we just had a great thing going up the hill, which is where our canned food drive was going simultaneously. So at the end of the game, I didn't say anything about the canned food drive. I mainly was just talking about, yeah, like we got to be better at this, and this. And then we can't have this go on. We can't be not talking. We can't whatever. Like the energy was down. And that's okay because obviously I did need to bring up those points and I needed to mention that, hey, the on-field performance wasn't there because, yes, everyone already knows that, but it's good to just mention it and say, hey, we got to work on this, and this. But the way I approached it was a little bit different than how I'd like to approach it now because I really did just kind of go straight after all the negatives. I didn't mention the positives of people taking the time and doing what I asked and leaving the dugout and going and working at the booth that we had. I said I want at least 3 people up there all times, making sure that, hey, every single person that comes in to drop off food and letters, you say thank you. You help them take it out of their car if they need. You help them load it up into the truck that we're taking. And I didn't mention any of that. And that's obviously not good on my part, especially as a president who orchestrated the event and actually created the event too. I wish that I had talked more about that in the moment. But as I sat with that and as the night went on, I remembered, hey, I didn't mention the good that happened here today. So I reached out to the team. I sent them a picture that we took and I said, hey, I understand the games were rough. I was a little hard on you guys, but I don't want to let this good moment pass us by because we still should celebrate that win. Yeah, it wasn't a game that we won, but it was a win in the sense that we helped our community and we helped the veterans that live in our community by donating food in a time of need, especially because it was around Thanksgiving. So I still said thank you for this. I appreciate all your guys' hard work. And I celebrated it a little bit, but I let that moment and the time to celebrate it pass me by. And by the time I did come around to it, I felt like it was too late. And that's another reason why you just shouldn't let things like that pass you by. If something good happens in your life, if it's your birthday, if it's celebrating a new job, some things may seem like, oh, it doesn't need a celebration. Oh, it's on to the next thing. Because that's what happens a lot in life now is, especially as I've gotten older now, I've realized I do this too. We think too much about the next thing. And if you do something good, it doesn't matter because that's already passed. And you're just thinking, oh, what can I do next? How can I get here next? How do I? And that's not good. Because if you don't take the time to smell the roses and appreciate what you've already done and have a great time doing it, that time's going to pass you by. And the more you get into the rhythm of it's the next thing I need to worry about, this is what I'm doing now, it doesn't matter, I already passed that, you're not going to be as happy as you could be if you say got this job and then you celebrate it. And then on Monday, you start thinking about the new job. Take the weekend to celebrate. I know it's hard to do that, but as I've noticed now, it's something that we all should do. And I'm sure, like me, it's hard for you guys to notice all the good that's happening in your life. And it's okay if some good moments pass you by, but just consider that. If you have something positive happen, celebrate it. Celebrate yourself because you're worth celebrating. And I think that's a great spot to leave it because this is a great message to put out there. And especially when I'm still not feeling great and I'm feeling a little under the weather, I'm still going to be appreciating life. And I'm still going to be appreciating and celebrating all the good that's happening in my life because, yeah, I may be sick. Yeah, I may be going through this. I may be going through that. My life may be a bumpy road and a rocky road and great ice cream, by the way, Rocky Road. But it may be rocky, but there's still good happening in your life, and just don't let it pass you by. But with that being said, guys, I am going to leave the episode there. But if you'd like to support us, be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Just Thoughts Pod. That's at Just Thoughts POD. I love doing the little POD. And whatever platform you guys listen to, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave us a 5-star review, turn on your notifications, and follow the show. That way you guys know when the next episode is uploaded. And if you guys have not already checked out our YouTube page, we are on YouTube at Just Thoughts Podcast. That's at Just Thoughts Podcast. And hopefully we see you guys next week. We love you guys. See ya.